And I'm live. So, here's what we learned. Today's notes. We've got 5:21:19. So, given the following information. So, if you're given a side, another side, and an angle. We call that the ambiguous case because one of three things can happen. Okay, first of all, if you don't like side, side, angle, you can always write as angle, side, side. And right off the bat, you know it's a bad triangle, okay? Okay? So call it the donkey triangle. How's that, okay? That way I'm not really being inappropriate because that is true name for a donkey, correct? Yeah. So I'm not really being bad. Let's just call it the donkey triangle, okay? So what happens is if you're given a side, and an angle, there's one of three things that happen. One, you could draw the triangle and only one true triangle exists. So if side A needs to be close to side B or bigger, you'll get one triangle, okay? Now the other one is that if side A is too small, if side A is much smaller than side B, then no triangle exists, right? It's a bad triangle, right? Didn't work, right? But we didn't know that until we drew it, correct? But then on the third case, which we're going to solve in our notes, you could draw it in such a way that I drew it. So one way to draw it is the way you guys drew it. 5's here, the 7's here, or you could draw it where the 5 is here. And there are two possible triangles. So first of all, let's take a look and highlight the one you guys solved, okay? So let's go back through and see what Daisy did. So if you draw the one Daisy drew and then most drew, and Olivia, which one did you draw? Yeah, Olivia drew that one. And she wasn't right, or she wasn't wrong at all. So let's solve this. First of all, angle B, right? Angle C. So let's do what we did prior to this. So we're going to set up the law of sines. So we'll go sine. So let's look at the big triangle. Okay, the big triangle. Let's just call it the big triangle. Sine of B over 7 equals sine of 30 over 5, right? Stop talking. Gavin, this is an arrow. Bring the 7 up, right? So I've got sine of B is equal to 7 sine of 30 divided by 5. So I'll use my calculator. I'm going to do this quickly, guys, to see it, because you guys have already done this. 7 sine 30 divided by 5. And I get a decimal. I should. So I sine inverse that. Sine inverse my 0.7. Sine inverse my 0.7. And I get an answer of about 44.4. So angle B is about 44.4 degrees. Good boys. 44.4 degrees. Now, we can get angle C from 180 degrees. So that's pretty easy. Angle C we'll just take and angle C. Let me catch up to you and then we'll start looking at the other triangle, okay? 44.4 plus my 30. So angle C, so 180 minus parentheses, 44.4 plus my 30, and I get an angle of about 105.6. Okay, so about 105.6, right? 105.6. Okay, then side C. Side C is this long side, and I'll find that by the law of sines. Okay, I need to find the side, so put that on top. So we're going to go, okay, I'm going to go C over, that's a C, over the sine of 105.6 equals 5 over the sine of 30, right? Multiply that up. I'll go 5 times the sine of 105.6, and I go divided by sine of 30, boom, and I get an answer of about 9.6. Okay, now you need to listen. Here's the part you don't know, okay? You watching?
Yes, sir.
Now, the triangle, there are two triangles, so let's look at this small triangle. So the small triangle, let me go ahead and just draw it out. Here's our smaller triangle in green. Okay, here's our smaller triangle, okay? Here's how we're going to find it. You know that this triangle in the middle. Are you watching, boys?
Yeah.
Good. I'm tired of giving you bad grades.
Ooh.
That's your fault, because you're not paying attention. There we go. So, watch. It's so easy, but if you don't watch, you won't get it. Watch. See this triangle in the middle? This is an isosceles triangle. 5 and 5. In an isosceles triangle, base angles are equal. 44.4, 44.4. Did you see that? Aren't you glad you're paying attention? Because it's really very easy. But if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't see it. 44.4, 44.4. Thank you, Cole. So then what we need to do is find this angle B. That's the angle I need is that angle. Cole's completely correct. Out of a straight line, it's 180. So to get this angle B, to find the measure of angle B in the small triangle, you're just going to go 180 minus your 44.4. Does that make sense? You know, in a straight line, 144 degrees, this is the angle B I need. I have an isosceles triangle. That 44.4 is also 44 there. So let's subtract 180 minus 44.4, and then I get an angle of 135.6. Now, angle C is no longer 105. In fact, it's much smaller. Much smaller. Angle C is not 105. It's much smaller. So angle C is going to equal 180 minus my 135.6 plus my 30 degrees minus my parentheses 135.6 plus my 30, and I get an answer of 14.4. So angle C is only 14.4 degrees. And then finally, side C is actually only this little side here. That's side C, not the whole thing. And we'll set up the same way, but with different angles. We want to find C, put that on top. We're going to go side C over its opposite. Sine of 14.4 equals 5 over the sine of 30. Okay, again, we'll take and multiply this up here. And so little c is equal to 5 times the sine of 14.4 over the sine of 30, and 5 times the sine of 14.4 divided by sine of 30. And I get an answer of about 2.48 or 2.5. Okay, so finally, to wrap it all up, if you get the angle side-side, it's a bad triangle because there are 3 possibilities, but you don't know what it is until you draw it. You could try and solve. In fact, if you went through and tried to solve this one, you would get an error somewhere. Somewhere in the math, you get an error and you wouldn't know why you got an error. The error is because it doesn't exist, okay? This one, you're not going to have any problems with this one because this one's pretty standard, right? There's only one way to do this one, okay? But this one, if you did the math, you would never, ever get this other triangle unless you drew it. Does that make sense? Yes, Gavin.